Hello and welcome to Easton, Connecticut, people. It's a very special vlog today because I'm not going to tell you too much about the town. We're going to actually tell you more about the stories and experiences I've had coming down here when I used to be a Ghostbuster 22 plus years ago. So before I get into it, a special shout out to my friend Albert, who will greatly appreciate this, and everyone at Monster Squad from Burger King and the whole late 90s Torrington crew, like Ben, Jeremy, Tom, Bruce, Donna, and Mary, and everyone else. You know who you are, and I know you won't be watching this, and so I could just amuse myself like I always do. But anyways, we're deep in Fairfield County in good old Easton, Connecticut, off of Route 59, just outside of Greater Bridgeport in a very nice rural community. And behind me is Easton's most famous landmark, Union Cemetery. That's right. This is the place that the Warrens claimed is the most haunted place in all of America. And for all you people that are naysayers and don't believe in ghosts, well, I will tell you a couple personal experiences I had. And lo and behold, I mean, last time I was here was like, probably 1998, 99 or so. Well, I'm kidding. I probably came here a few more times since then. But that was when I used to hop around here most often. And I didn't think this cemetery was still receiving any love. But you look there, there's a relatively new grave from 2013 and one right there from 2010. So it is still getting used. But anyways, without further ado, I'll tell you a couple of quick stories and show you some landmarks. But I've had a few experiences here back in my high school days when I was searching for some kind of solace with an afterlife per se. I grew up as a Catholic boy. I wasn't the most religious person, you could say, but I always had some deep thoughts about what happens in life after death and stuff, and so that created my fascination with the spiritual world, to see what might actually happen after you go. And I firmly believe there's definitely some kind of energy source that our souls do go on, whether it's in the form of life after death here on Earth, or perhaps somewhere else. But needless to say, in one of my very first trips over here, me and a couple of buddies were hanging around in this very, I don't know, you can't really call it a parking lot, but it's a little pull-off zone. And it was night, unlike now. And we're sitting over here and we're just talking to ourselves, but we're kind of like whispering and stuff. And no sooner did we get out like a few sentences, about like 3 or 4 minutes in, with our windows rolled down, sitting in our car, we hear something, and we all just stop talking at the same time, just like, oh, what's that? So then we're like, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that too. All right. So then we got out of the cars and we're just like standing around almost exactly right where I am right now, and we're just looking in, peering into the cemetery, pitch black. And then we're still whispering to ourselves, and then again hear it even clearer, but I can't make out the words or anything. It's like something's like muttering. And I was really fascinated by that. And this was back when the internet was very new, and you didn't have Google, and you had a barely functioning Yahoo and whatnot. And so I did a quick search, though, to see if anyone had published any documentation on what that could be. And truth be told, I found an article that said that if you hear a muttering voice coming from the cemetery, it is the voice of the original gravedigger speaking to you. So that kind of chilled me out a bit. And I don't know if anyone watching this has any knowledge about the folklore with the more famous events that pertain to the whereabouts with Union Cemetery, and even the cemetery that's in Stepney, which is further up the road towards Monroe. They say back in, I think, the early 19-teens or 1920s, there was a woman in white who was supposedly murdered, and they say her remains were buried somewhere in those woods right over here across the street from the cemetery. And at times people have been known to see a pair of red eyes dancing, swirling around over there. And I will tell you, once again, I'm not making this up, I did see those red eyes one time. And I will now proceed to tell you and show you another interesting thing. A lot of people have experienced what I'm about to show you right now. So what I'm about to show you right now is there's an area right over here. Look straight ahead, right in the spot, like right in front of where that a flag and that memorial site is. It was a clear night. Nothing was happening. It was dry, no humidity, no clouds, no fog or anything like that. And me and several friends were just driving around in the area, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this white, misty figure of a human actually started to form. But of course, it was forming so fast and quickly, coming up from the middle of the road, I actually didn't have time to drive around it. I drove right through it, turned around, shined our flashlights on it. There was nothing there. But that happened to be the figure of the white lady that I started telling you about. The famous incident of the woman who was murdered here in this area roughly about 100 years ago from today. And she makes her presence felt all the time. This is Route 59 from Easton towards Monroe, Stepney, which is actually a little village section that belongs to Monroe. And she's been known to wander up and down the street at nighttime, and people say they see her on a regular basis. But you know, she's harmless. There's actually photographs of her. If you were to look up Ed and Lorraine Warren's work and the submissions that they received from other people, where there have been some crystal clear shots of her where you can see it doesn't look like a piece of fog. It's clear as day that there's a silhouette, and you can make out a face of a woman who looks to be wearing like a vintage wedding gown or something of some sort, who meanders through this very area. But yeah, very neat stuff. And I want to show you one more thing that I think is worth checking out, and why you should come down to Easton sometime, because it's a neat town. And believe me, if I had money and stuff, I would consider living down here, of course, if wifey wants to do the same. But yeah, here it is. Okay, technically we're in Reading now, but what the fuck's in Reading? Reading's a really nice, super quiet, super rural town in the middle of nowhere, Fairfield County, which is very rich and prosperous, of course, with the fanciest school systems and the lowest crime rate and blah blah blah. Who likes any of that stuff? There's some awesome scenery here. There's a sanctuary. There's a very small village green with a church, and I think maybe like a museum and a little post office there, but that's about it. But what I really want to show you, and hopefully I don't get shot doing this, is you've seen pictures of it before. It's actually considered a kind of a landmark now, but this is in the flesh, the Tonka Tree house. All right, so if you ever want to come down to Reading, Pomfret, wherever the hell we are, not Pomfret, I mean Easton. Pomfret is complete opposite direction of Connecticut. Yeah, that's someone's masterpiece. And when I used to come here, 20 years ago, like I was saying, there used to be a lot more cars and trucks all over, actually on top of the roof of that house itself. It wasn't just reserved for the tree, but the owners have since taken all that stuff off, and now it's literally just on the tree. But it's a neat spectacle, worth checking out. Gorgeous day today, beautiful river. This is very serene. This is for probably what all you people who've never been to Connecticut imagine what all of Connecticut looks like, but it's not the case at all by any means. But I'll let you pretend this is the case. And if you've people been watching all my vlogs in the past, then I had a nice little joke that I made about a section of Southbury once, of a road called Poverty Road. It looks like where the Tonka Tree house is right near Poverty Hollow Road, which is marked a scenic road. And I'll say it again, like I said before, there ain't no poverty on Poverty Hollow Road. So I hope you enjoy this one. Thanks. And yeah, come down to Fairfield County and relax. And if you plan on buying anything, bring your pocketbook. All right, bye.